Religion is the oldest coping mechanism known to mankind. People say that God created humans to worship Him, whilst in reality, humans created God to worship something. You need a way to romanticize, to give a reason to your suffering, so you pray. You place a godly stamp of approval on your suffering and misfortune, because life is inherently unfair. You start to think it is just all a big test. God is testing you. God gives its strongest battles to its strongest warriors. Whilst in reality, your suffering doesn't have any real meaning. You just suffer because you just suffer. It is natural to suffer. You are not fulfilling your biological needs. Maybe you are starving, maybe you don't have shelter, maybe you have no friends, maybe you are poor. You were just born to suffer, with the desire of running away from your pain. How do you cope with your unwanted reality? Well, you start praying. You pray, pray and pray until the pain goes away. You ask for forgiveness if you have ever sinned, and pray and wait for better days because your God told you that with Him everything is possible. Follow the guidance of God and He will give you peace. Delusion at its finest. You're born in poverty with nothing to look forward to in life. Every day is the same exact repeating cycle, and you just hypnotize yourself and think that everything will be okay at the end of the day, whilst totally ignoring the real world problems around you. And I think that is exactly what you should be doing. Even though this video is designed to be a form of criticism towards religion and religious people, I cannot deny the fact that with God or with religion, humanity did great things. If religion is a good thing in your life, do it. Don't let idiots like me push you away from your good path at life. If your life is objectively better, and your living experience is objectively better with delusion or with your form of the truth, the thing I call delusion and you call the truth, keep doing it. I created this video for the people whom religion did not help, who see the layers behind religion. I understand both sides, and life is all about nuance and all of that. But yes, I say that religion is a cope, but it is a good cope, a bloody good cope. I never met a religious person who is down bad, who is afraid or deeply pessimistic or depressed about the future, no matter what their circumstances are. They always find a way to alleviate their suffering through mental gymnastics. You cannot just tell a suffering child that their suffering is unjustifiable. To alleviate the pain, you tell them that God has a plan for them. It is not for nothing, you're not lying to that child for nothing, but to me, that is just bandages on an open wound. For the hardcore Christians or Muslims, please keep the hate comments civil. I personally don't care if I change someone's mind or worldview. I create these videos in my own image and what goes through my head during my time on this earth. If I change your perspective on life, good. If I don't, good. Because people will always believe whatever they want to believe. What is the point of arguing with others when both of you will not leave satisfied?
You grew up as a slave, and that's because you were born into slavery.
The reason why religion exists in the first place is because of humans' curiosity and the desire to understand. We couldn't find answers on why nature is the way it is, why we suffer, why we exist and breathe in the first place. We had to find or create our own reason. We couldn't accept that living life was a lucky coincidence, so we had to say that we are here for a reason. We had to make sense of the unknown. We lacked scientific tools to understand the weather, illnesses, and the movements of the sun. So we said that all of the unknown is supernatural forces. God, celestial beings. God gave us a reason to live. God created us in His own image. We shouldn't fear death because our temporary suffering on this planet will be rewarded with eternal peace after death. That is the second reason why religion exists. We had to cope with death, as death is what all of us who live share together. No one knows what comes after death, so we had to create a reason why death exists. Why everything that lives has to die. Why are we here just to die later? Therefore, we designed a perfect life after death. The things that you don't have now, you will have them in heaven. Eternal wealth, rivers made out of milk, all that you desire. But the most important reason why religion exists and why it is so popular is because of public control. Why would Christianity and Islam be so popular compared to other religions? Someone had to fund all of the scriptures, all of the structures, churches and holy structures. For what reason? We say the reason is mutual moral code and mutual social values, but when you want to unite people under one banner, under one nation, you must sell them the reason why. Why would people listen to you and follow your rule when they barely survive off of their own land? Why would they listen to you whilst they suffer from famine, whilst you eat whatever you want? Tell them it is all God's plan. Their suffering will be blessed once they listen to the words of God. Listen to the rules God laid upon you, and your current suffering will be blessed with eternal pleasure. Imagine you're some malnourished farmer whom kids died last year due to smallpox and tuberculosis. Your farm is getting demolished by insects and pests. There hasn't been rain in days and your crops are slowly dying off. Your wife started working as a prostitute just to survive. Both of you have no reason to continue living. Well, God has answers. Continue doing what you're doing and you will be rewarded with eternal peace. At the time when a man would turn barbarian and decide to murder, steal, pillage and destroy because he has nothing left to live for, you prevent him by giving him a moral code, the 10 Commandments. Don't get me wrong, that is a good thing for society. You don't want misfortunate people going around and just murking innocent people. But also at the same time, you need to understand that that is not the defined and internal truth. That is public control. Just look at the 10 Commandments. The first 4 are designed to enforce the religion, to enforce the one and truly Christian God as your savior. The last 6 are designed for public control. The 5th is to keep the family values strong, because strong nations have strong family values. 6th, 7th and 8th are designed to suppress the animalistic nature. It is an easy kill when the opponent gives no resistance. It is easy to pillage and rape when there is no risk of being harmed. It is easy to steal when you know you will not be caught. And the last 2 are designed to sort of extend your family values onto the other families, to create strong bonds with other families. All of these are good things for society, and everyone should follow these commandments, but you need to know that these didn't came from God, but from leaders and governments. We humans made that, because smart leaders need people under their command. So they created stories, motivational stories, to make people work together. I mean, due to religion, people have built wonders. They have built the cathedrals and churches reaching the clouds, pyramids, the statue of Zeus in Olympia, that big basilica in Barcelona. Can you see the sheer size of this building? I mean, the cathedral in Zagreb is somewhat 70 meters tall, and it still amazes me how people built it. But that cathedral in Spain, 170 meters tall. I cannot even visualize it how tall that is. All in the name of God. Faith and hope are one of the strongest drugs to us humans. We can turn mountains around with faith and hope. It truly amazes me, brother. I know I'm criticizing religion and the thing that made us way superior to our human and animalistic nature, but it still amazes me. Unfortunately for me, I cannot be religious. I do not have that religious bone in me, and I question everything down to its core. I seek for patterns, and whilst religious people see God in everything, I do not see him anywhere. I went to church a lot when I was a kid because my parents went, but over time we just stopped going. And after a while of me not going there and actually observing the world, I just couldn't find God. There are so many holes in religion that some people who cannot stop asking questions will later turn to agnosticism or atheism. How can the Virgin Mary give birth to Jesus? Why can't we see all of these miracles today as people have been writing before us? Today we have the answers for everything. In the chapter Exodus 3, when Moses was talking to God who took the form of a burning bush, I read somewhere that that particular form of acacia tree has psychoactive when smoked and inhaled. Acacias contain compounds related to DMT. The vision of God may have been drug-induced. That is the thing. Every single miracle today can be explained via something that is not God. Thank God the operation was successful. Meanwhile, the doctors are just standing in the corner without any recognition. Your God didn't do nothing. The Epicurean paradox says that if God truly exists, then God could not be all-powerful or all-loving or all-knowing. By observing evil and thinking that God is all good, why didn't God stop evil from existing? Either he isn't all-powerful and there are forces stronger than God who keep evil people alive, or maybe God isn't all good himself and allows evil to exist to test us if we are worthy. But then, if God is all-knowing and we are created in his image, why would we be put to a test if he created us? He should already know what we would do when tested, so therefore, God could not be all three combined. Either he doesn't know of our evil nature, or he himself is evil for allowing us to continue doing what we're doing, or he is powerless to stop his creation. How can you create faulty humans and then blame them for their mistakes? How do I even know if I am the one who is making mistakes? I could be the most devout Christian, but what if I choose the wrong God? How do I know if the Christian God is the ultimate truth and not Allah? What if Buddha is the one and true God, and every other religion is just a copycat made in the image of that society's value? Same shit, just different packaging. That is why for most centuries, the majority of countries were religious. Whilst common people see it as true, the wise see it as false. The rulers are the one who see it as useful. As we progress technologically, and the average person is getting smarter and smarter and has free access to information, we see the patterns where religion can be used as propaganda, as a form of control. I can't see religion as truth, only a guide. Guide to a good life. It is just a list how to live life. That was my criticism towards religion and its base value. But I have stronger criticism towards its followers. I have seen so many Christians who take pride in the fact that they're Christian, but they drink, take drugs, go to clubs, have sex every week before marriage. I cannot explain to you the amount of second-hand shame when I see a girl who has a Bible quote in her Instagram bio, whilst not following any Christian values. The vast majority of Christians are hypocrites. God has a plan, God will guide me. Brother, you're failing all of your studies. You have no job, you have no ambition, no goals, no desires. The fuck you talking about God has a plan? To me, God is making a joke out of you. I already expect the ad hominem attacks in the comments, insulting me for having a few words with religious tradition. These keyboard warriors. That is what I despise. You see that God will not help you, and the highly religious will attack you for blasphemy. How dare you speak against God? Mate, why can't I question God? Why can't I question my own existence? Why can't I question the fact that I'm here, sitting on this chair, writing this script on my PC, while there is a disabled kid in Pakistan creating bricks for 13 hours a day? What did I do to deserve this heaven compared to that kid? What did that kid do to deserve his hell compared to my position? You say all life is a blessing, living life is a gift. Imagine saying that knowing there are kids who die at the age of 3 in Africa with their bloated bellies, spending their last living moments in agony. Where is your God now? Did they deserve that? Then religious people need to cope. That kid was a bad person in his past life, so his current life is his punishment.
Hasn't it ever occurred to you, why would God create some people that are not equipped to win? Why would God create some people that are just total screw-ups in life? If I was God, I wouldn't put nobody on earth that's effed up. You know? I mean, look at people who are born with terminal illnesses. Some people were born to lose. Some people are a definition of what you don't want to be in life. Some people are.
Even this concept of eternal punishment sounds stupid to me. Does Raskolnikov from Crime and Punishment deserve eternal torture and eternal punishment by God for the murder of an elderly pawnbroker, if he were to be judged by God? Why judge someone with eternity based on just this small amount of time we spend as humans? I mean, that is why we as humans created the justice system, because we see that God didn't and will not come down from his kingdom to save us from our own downfall. So we started playing God. Now we sentence people to purgatory when God takes his sweet time. Now we get rid of unmoral people for not following the rules of society, because being religious doesn't mean you are a good person. I have seen so many people who claim they are Christian, yet they backstab people, gossip, are rude, curse, steal, manipulate and fraud, but because they repent in church every 3 Sundays, it is all forgiven. Tell me who is actually a good and moral person. A person who does good because they fear God's punishment, or a person who does good even though they don't believe they'll be punished for doing evil. What's more virtuous? Doing good because you're afraid of hell, or doing good when you have nothing to fear? Being religious doesn't determine your morality or moral compass, or whenever you are a good person or not. So many people delude and blind themselves into thinking they are that good and loving main character, whilst they hurt people along the way. God will reward my good deeds one day. I sent $5 to aid Ukrainian or Palestine survivors. God will see me doing good. Bro, those $5 you sent are in some Indian's pocket. Brother. Why wait for the evil person to die just to judge him? That evil person is going around hurting innocent souls. Why not judge him then and there? and punish him on the spot before his evil can spread. Then you say, oh, free will. Tell that to the rape victims, man. Tell them they suffered due to free will of other humans and that they can be saved through the words of God. Tell that to a 10-year-old girl who went to the island. For the matter of fact, Satan is more moral and good than God. Satan is the one who punishes people and torments people for their evil doings. God doesn't do jack shit. In the book of Job, I do not know how to pronounce his name. God straight up allowed Satan to test the faith from one of his most loyal followers. Job is a righteous man, blessed with wealth, sons and daughters. Satan accuses God, saying Job is only loyal to God because God gave him a good life. So to test his faith, God allowed Satan to absolutely fuck Job up. Job's family got killed, his house burned, his land got destroyed, he contracted some sort of disease. His friends even accused him of sinning because God doesn't punish good people like that. Basically, the guy lost everything, and he started questioning God, accusing God of being wrathful, angry, hostile, saying his punishment is unproportionate. Then God responded. He appeared in front of Job, and instead of explaining that Satan and God just made a deal to fuck him up, he just said, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" Man, what a get out of jail card. God and Satan just randomly decided during some talk to punish a happy guy, to quote unquote test his faith. And when his faith started to fade because God's punishment was unexpected and just downright bullshit, then God appeared to save his faith. Because up to now, Job only knew God through stories, but now he has seen God. There was no test. I do not see a test anywhere here. Instead of saying it directly that he just allowed Satan to destroy his life, God just said, "You know jack shit about this world, your level of understanding is so low, how can you understand my actions and my divine plan to eradicate evil?" Man, that's just a total shit show. But at the same time, with God you can do anything. What is the meaning in this? It is faith, it is hope. When a person is hopeful, the person will do things in favor of their success, and when they succeed, they praise and thank God. Trust me, there are a lot of people who had hope and they did not make it. It is just all pure survivorship bias. You see, the more questions you ask, the deeper you go. You just cannot be religious. Even arguments like, well, this smart and wealthy and ultra-intelligent person or inventor believes in God, so your argument is wrong, even those arguments don't disprove anything because of the appeal to authority or appeal to intelligence. Even claims like, well, the universe had to start from somewhere, so God had to create it, doesn't fit with me. Because we do not know how the universe started and do not know if God started it. It is all just a speculation and theory. When there is something we don't know, you can't just say it like God created it because both parties do not have proof of the unknown. I mean, could God even be angry with me if I don't see him anywhere? Because it is not like I refuse to see him, because I genuinely wanted to search for him. I genuinely wanted to see him anywhere and everywhere. But I constantly get hit back with, ooh, this is explained by this is explained by that. Nothing really has a connection to God in my own head. Maybe an argument with consciousness, like how are we conscious? How are we hyper aware of our own beings? How are we aware of our name, of our actions, or the future, or these things like that? Could God gave us the gift of being so self-conscious? And at the same time, I just get hit with the argument back that it is just intelligence. Our intelligence just evolved the way it is, and our consciousness pushed us towards inventing stuff and creating stuff. I mean, that is the reason why it is called belief. Because if you know that something is true, you will not believe in it. For example, do you believe in the existence of your own parents? I believe that most of you will be reasonable and say that no, you do not believe it because you already know it, and there is no point of believing in something if you already know the truth. That's the reason why it is called a belief, because with belief we can romanticize it, we can create stories, we can fill in the gaps that the whole truth cannot fill in. And at the same time, I think that's a very good thing. I do not want people to misinterpret this video saying that, ooh, this guy is Satan, this guy is speaking against religion, this guy is trying to put people on a bad path. No, I'm saying that religion is a good thing. Religion helped a lot of us, but the problem is that with the advancement of capitalism, modernity, and science, and information, and social media, there are so many people who will not believe in religion, who will not believe in Jesus or Allah or things like that, because the community is not there. I mean, this entire topic was already discussed by Nietzsche. You know that the most famous quote from Nietzsche, and yeah, every single video I mention Nietzsche, but that quote, God is dead and we killed him, that's definitely a very true quote. And many people misinterpret him. Many people misinterpreted that quote, saying that, ooh, Nietzsche is against religion. No, Nietzsche is very well for religion. He's just saying that we as a society killed off God, and now we don't have anything to replace him with. Because what God gave us were morals, a set of rules to follow for a good society, for moral and good, and to eradicate all evil. It was generally a very good system. But now, when there is no God, we as humans do not know what to feel, how to be a moral person. Of course, I'm not claiming that you cannot be a good person if you're not religious, because many people have their own moral compass, and many people can develop a very good moral compass without religion. But the problem is, us humans, we are still very animalistic. We're still animals to our own core. And average people who do not have religion, they will turn to mediocrity. They will turn to degeneracy. People do not worship God anymore. People do not worship religion and Allah and all of these divine beings and true inspirations of humanity and being a good person. People do not worship that anymore. They worship rappers, degenerate rappers who only sing about hot women, cars, money, and they're just flexing. They praise money, like money is their new god, and they fill their free time with playing video games and just coping with their own existence. You see, religion is a cope, because the reality is you're here because your parents procreated and their grandparents procreated and so on for generations. That's the ultimate truth, but we had to cope some way, somehow, saying that it has to have a start and that every life has a meaning. And that's a very good cope to have. That's a very incredible cope to have. That's the reason why I'm not really dissing religious people. I'm not really against religion as a whole. I'm not against religious people. I just have my own criticism saying that religion is a system and that people, those most loyal followers, they are blinded by their own somewhat coping mechanism, by their own form of truth. But with their own unrealistic form of truth, if they're doing good, if they're helping people, if they're creating good societies, if they're creating a positive world for our children, if they're creating a morally good world, then they should do it. They should do it. Everybody should be Christian. Everybody should be Muslim. Everybody should be this. Everybody should be that. It is just the problem that some of us cannot be because we questioned too much. And I guess that we're gonna burn in hell for questioning God's will, for God's eternity, for God's incredible plan to eradicate evil. But I guess that it just is what it is. Anyways, that's that for the video. Thank you everybody for watching. See you all in the next video.